Hello, this is Tony Crawford and I live in the villages in Florida. I'm looking forward to sharing these photos of the romance of the Rhine and Mosel river cruise that my wife and I took at the end of June with Grand Circle Cruise Line. This photo was taken in Bernkastel in Germany, one of the many picturesque towns we visited on the cruise. Here's the map and itinerary for our cruise. We visited 5 countries in 16 days, with the first and last days mostly travel days to and from Europe. On day 1, we flew from Orlando to Brussels via Newark, and at the Brussels airport we were met by Emin, one of the 3 program directors on our cruise, and from there we were escorted on a 45-minute bus ride to our boat in the Antwerp harbour. Our boat, the River Melody, was especially designed for cruising the Rhine and Mosel rivers to fit exactly in the locks. The boat is 110 meters long and 11.4 meters wide. It holds 140 passengers and about 34 crew. At some ports, boats had to double up, so if we were in the outside position, we would walk across the other boat to get to shore. Just to prove we actually took this trip, here's a photo of my wife Laurie and myself. On day 2, we stayed in Antwerp and were given a walking tour. The photos here show Antwerp Cathedral, City Hall with all the flags, and Groot Market Square. I'll go through the photos quickly, but you can always pause the video if you want to examine a particular photo more closely. Plus, I'm hoping you will experience the cruise for yourself and see these wonderful sights in person. A safety drill was held as soon as we set sail. Our cabin, which was on the middle deck, was very comfortable, with a large picture window, small TV, phone, couches with flip-down beds, desk drawers, storage shelves, and a bathroom with a spacious shower. I didn't want to take pictures of other people's cabins, but I thought you may like to see the difference between the cabins. So all the photos and boat layout on this slide are from the Grand Circle website. In the top photo you can see the top deck cabins, which all have a balcony. Next down are the middle deck cabins, which have a large picture window. Below that are the bottom deck cabins, which have a smaller and higher picture window. And all cabins were exactly the same size and outfitted in exactly the same way. So the cabins with a balcony were slightly smaller inside. Our cabin, C319, was on the middle deck and was quiet and perfect for us. On day 3, we moved from Antwerp to Willemstad in the Netherlands. A lot of our traveling was done at night, so we would often wake up to find ourselves in a new town or country. The boat was so smooth and quiet that you would never know if you were moving until you looked outside. This windmill in the town of Willemstad is now a privately owned home undergoing renovation. Defense against the ocean is of course a major concern across the Netherlands, since much of the land is below sea level. Day 4 we spent in Kinderdijk. Kinderdijk is situated on a polder, which is a low-lying tract of land. To drain the polder, a system of 19 windmills was built around 1740. This group of windmills is the largest concentration of old windmills in the Netherlands and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Grand Circle Foundation contributes funding to support the restoration and maintenance of these windmills. At the bottom right you can see the modern pumping station that now replaces the windmills. We could walk through this windmill and see the typical living quarters where a family of 12 or more might live. Early on in the cruise, we were introduced by the hotel manager to the staff. Shown here from the top are the kitchen staff, in the middle are the waiters, and below them the cabin attendants. Other staff not shown here included the captain, co-pilot, program directors, and sailors who docked and undocked and maintained the boat. Day 5 we visited Nijmegen in the Netherlands. Magali, one of the 3 program directors, is shown here taking her red group on a walking tour of Nijmegen. All of us were provided with headsets, so as long as you stay within eyesight, it was possible to move around and take photos while still hearing the commentary by the program director for the group. A lot of old towns like Nijmegen were walled and gated to provide some protection from invaders. Early shops used signs and artifacts like this elephant to denote what they were selling. So the elephant, for example, indicated that goods from Africa and India and the colonies were being sold in that shop. Here are our three program directors. Magali is from Belgium, Kevin, shown at the bottom left, is from Germany, and Emin is from Egypt. Day 6, we traveled to Germany, our third country, and spent the day in Bonn. The palace at the top was built for Elector Joseph Clemens in the 17th century, but is now owned by Bonn University. The sculpture at the right is by an English sculptor and is entitled Mean Average, and it was unveiled only a few days before our visit. Bonn Minster is one of the oldest churches in Germany and was built around the 12th century and is now a papal basilica. The top right photo shows large sculptures of the heads of Roman legionaries, who are now saints, Cassius and Florentius, who were beheaded for refusing to kill their fellow Christians. At the bottom left, you can see Kevin, our program director, leading our blue group on a walking tour of Bonn. And the Beethoven monument celebrates Ludwig van Beethoven, who was born in Bonn in 1770. Our captain was very accessible and friendly. The food was always excellent and the culprit for my gaining 5 pounds. It would have been more than 5 pounds if not for all the walking we did. On day 7, we sailed from the Rhine to the Mosel River and stopped at the town of Kokum with the magnificent Reichsburg Castle. This is a view of Reichsburg Castle on the hilltop from the other side of the Mosel River. And this is Kokum and the Mosel River as seen from Reichsburg Castle. As you can tell from all the pictures, we had pretty good weather on all the days we were there. I think there was only one day when we had a little bit of light rain. So we were lucky. These next few slides are of Reichsburg Castle as well. The guided tour of Reichsburg Castle was one of 12 included tours. In the bottom left photo, you can see our guide dropping some water down the well to show how deep it was, and you couldn't see it hit the bottom. Each evening we were provided in our rooms with the next day's agenda, lunch and dinner menu, a map, and some suggested things to do on our own for the town we would be visiting. Port talk was held every evening just before dinner by one of the program directors and provided us with a good preview of the next day's activities. At the bottom you can see Laurie playing Rummikub with the ladies group. On day 8 we moved further along the Moselle to Bern Castle. The next 7 slides are of Bern Castle. The Moselle is very scenic and is a region very famous for its wine, with vineyards pretty well all along the banks of the river, no matter how steep they were. The green strip in the picture on the left shows the heights of the various great floods over the centuries, and as you can see they were very high. The house shown on the right has a larger upper story to minimize taxes paid, as houses were taxed by the amount of land that they occupied. The metal markers in the ground commemorate Jews who had lived there and lost their lives during the war. Some very colorful signs adorn the shops and restaurants in many places on our cruise. These signs were all in Bern Castle. Another one of the 12 included tours was a great wine tasting in this cellar, which was buried in a hillside covered with vineyards. On day 9 we went to Trier, one of the oldest towns in Germany and situated very near to Luxembourg. At the top right you can see the Porta Nigra, or Black Gate in Trier, which was built around 200 AD and is the largest Roman city gate north of the Alps, and is another UNESCO World Heritage Site. And at the bottom right is the Roman Catholic High Cathedral of St. Peter in Trier, the oldest church in Germany. And on the left you can see the market fountain, showing St. Peter, the patron saint of both the cathedral and the city. On every walking tour, Laurie and I had to end with a coffee for Laurie and some cake for you can guess who. Day 10, we visited the very picturesque town of Zell, my favorite town of the whole trip. This is our boat and the town of Zell as seen from across the Moselle River. At the top left you can see Kevin, our program director, showing us the history of Zell from Celtic and Roman times, all pictured in stone. And on the top right, you can see another marker just to the left of the door, showing again the heights of the floods over the centuries. And again, very high, as you can see. We were very fortunate on the day we were here that the annual Zell Wine Festival Parade was being held, with a theme showing the history of Zell from Roman and Celtic times. The Schwartz cat, or black cat, is now a symbol of Zell and is also the name of a well-known local winery. According to legend, a black cat was guarding a particular barrel of Zeller wine, which was then considered special and became a trademark wine for the area. I only took one video on the whole trip, and I'm very glad it was this one, of a band playing some very unusual wooden instruments. Wasn't that a great sounding band? This is another view of our boat on the Mosel, this time from the vineyards on the steep hills above. Day 11 we visited Boppard and then spent the afternoon sailing from Boppard to Speyer. This stretch of the Rhine is undoubtedly the most scenic of the trip, with numerous magnificent castles along the way, most of which were used to extract tolls from boats going up and down the river. During this part of the trip, we were given a map and a bridge commentary by Magali describing the castles and towns along the way. This spot on the Rhine was a particularly dangerous curve in the river because of the strong currents. According to legend, it was the siren Lorelei, portrayed in the statue in the bottom left photo, who lured sailors to their doom. Of course, Lorelei made an appearance on our boat, but I managed to withstand her lure. The castle on the bottom right was well situated to collect tolls, but also susceptible to floods and attacks, so the doors and windows were raised well above the ground. On day 12, we took a walking tour of Speyer. This was a town founded by the Romans around AD 50, which flourished in the Middle Ages. Day 13, we arrived early in the morning in Strasbourg in France, the fourth country we visited on the cruise. The Cathedral of Our Lady of Strasbourg became a Protestant church in 1521 under the Reformation, but was returned to Catholics when Strasbourg was incorporated into France in 1681. And the present highly ingenious mechanical astronomical clock, shown at the top right, was built in 1682. One of the optional trips we took was the Alsatian Highlights tour, visiting the Stork Park and picturesque medieval town of Rickeweer. Storks still nest in some of the chimneys in town, as you can see in the bottom right photo, and return every year to their same nests, which they then enlarge. As a consequence, the chimneys have to be also continuously enlarged to support the nests. On day 14, we visited the Black Forest region and the spa town of Baden-Baden. Kevin, our program director, was from this area and gave us a good commentary on our motor coach tour through the Black Forest. At the top left, you can see the very modern mineral spas, at the exact site of spas dating back to Roman times. On day 15, we arrive at the fifth country and final stop of our tour at Basel in Switzerland. A popular pastime here is floating down the river on tubes and floats. Magali convinced 8 brave people on the boat to take the plunge with her. In the bottom picture, you can see a ferry boat attached by a wire to a cable strung across the river. By angling the boat appropriately, the strong current of the river propelled the boat across the river in each direction. The Basel Minster overlooks the Rhine. It was originally a Catholic cathedral, but today it is a Reformed Protestant church. I will end now with a picture of our boat at Zell, my favorite spot. Thank you for viewing these photos. I hope you enjoy seeing them and will take a river cruise of your own and enjoy the experience for yourself. After the trip, I was so impressed with both Grand Circle and the trip that I am partnering with Grand Circle in Overseas Adventure Travel as an independent travel counselor. So if you'd like to learn more about travel with Grand Circle and Overseas Adventure Travel, or about river cruising or adventure trips in general, please contact me. With over 90 trips in all 7 continents to choose from, I am sure there is a truly memorable trip in your future. Thank you.